Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Man, it's always something, man. Always something with the Cleveland Browns. But let's get to it, man. I had to come on and break this down a little bit. Let's get off into it. Man, let me turn this down a little bit, make sure I'm not coming in too hot. Welcome all in. Let's see who we got here. Here we go, losing people. Already, we ain't even in preseason yet. I totally get you, man. Welcome on into the barbershop. We got a couple of injuries to break down, and I thought they were significant enough that I should get on and do a live. I just do want to say also, I do every show. I shout out all my people. I shout out everybody involved with the barbershop. So there's a place where you can donate to the channel. You can donate, support the barbershop. PayPal.me/GBush91. Or you can use PayPal as well, or Cash App, $GBush91. Just simply scan the QR code right there. You'll be able to get it. You can support there. Also, always, like I'm always telling you guys, the first thing that I'm always doing is support the people that support me. So we want to thank the individuals who are supporting right now over on Patreon. Patreon is a place where you can help support the channel and help make sure that this content gets seen by each and every person out there. I want to go through the list of people who are on Patreon, so I want to say thank you to those individuals who've helped me. We got on the MVP tier is Greg Smith.
You have a problem with your audio.
Let's see. I've been told I have a problem with my audio. Can people hear me? Oh, it sounds like, G. Bush, you sound like you are in a public bathroom. All right, let's see what we can do with this. Give me a second. Let me get this cracking.
All right. Is the sound better? Let me know. Let me see. We'll keep working on it. Good. All right, here we go. There we go. Yeah, I had to get that crispy. I don't be playing around with the sound. I don't be playing around with that. Let's get right back into that, man. MVP tier. Thank you to Greg Smith, Omari Spence, Robert Norman Sr. Starting lineup tier is Omari Spence as well. Bradley Thomas Bruns, Gail Mayo, Spencer Mahone, Aaron Brandon, Russell Edwards, Timothy Tyree, Anthony G. Perry, and Howard Vanisell. Thank you guys for supporting the barbershop. And if you want to join the barbershop as well, you can visit patreon.com/the barbershop. All right, so let's get off into this thing so we can get this thing popping. We got to get right into what we want to get to today, and it's big news coming out of the Browns. Big news coming out. If you didn't see the headlines right now, Alex Wright and Isaiah Thomas have serious knee injuries, right? Serious knee injuries. And right now, Coach Kevin Stefanski is saying that those guys are going to be out an extended period of time. Now, anytime a coach says extended period of time, just read into the tea leaves with that. This is a major blow for the Cleveland Browns. A major blow for the Cleveland Browns. Let me do this really quickly. Here we go. Let me get to what the press release says here a little bit right here. Here we go. So, here we go. So you guys might not be able to read this. I'll full screen it. All right, you might not be able to read it, but I'll read it to you guys. Make sure we all squared away. Browns injuries: 2 defensive linemen to miss regular season games with significant knee injuries. The Cleveland Browns spent a lot of resources this offseason to upgrade their defensive line after they had a terrible performance the last couple of seasons. The additions of Dalvin Tomlinson, Zadarius Smith, and Okoronkwo, Maurice Hurst, Tristan Hill, Siaki Ika, and Isaiah McGuire were set to help Myles Garrett and the remaining defensive linemen. Just before the start of training camp here, Winfrey was released, leading to concerns in the middle of the line. Veteran Shelby Harris was brought in for a workout, but was not signed. On Monday, the team signed linebacker defensive end Charles Wiley with an injury to Alex Wright and Isaiah Thomas, lingering as concerns. Monday afternoon, got word from head coach Kevin Stefanski that both of those injuries could be problematic in the regular season. And he went on to say second-year defensive ends Alex Wright and Isaiah Thomas both suffered significant knee injuries since last week and will miss an extended period of time, Coach Stefanski announced on Monday before practice. He did not specify the nature of the injuries, but said they would bleed into this season. The injuries occurred prior to and during Cleveland's matchup with the New York Jets. Both Wright and Thomas played during the game, despite one injury happening prior to the game. Given the limited requirements of the reporting of the injuries during the preseason, Stefanski was vague about both of those injuries. Now, what that tells me is, you might got a little situation going here. That might tell me that one of them might be something like a meniscus. I've had injuries before where there's situations where I was cool. I thought it was just a sprain or something. And then what happens over time, you start to accumulate that fluid in your knee. They'll go in and drain it. And if it keeps being problematic, they'll give you an MRI. And if there is some things going on, they will, shut you down and they'll give you a torn meniscus or make sure they clean that out. Now, the crazy thing about torn meniscus is usually they're 4 to 6 weeks. However, you can have some persistence and more, I would say, swelling in that knee, and it can keep you from practicing, and it will make sure. And one of the things that'll happen is if the fluid keeps coming back, it's going to be out for a prolonged period of time. Now, one of the injuries seems like, they got injured during the football game. And then once they got injured during the football game, it was a situation where they went back and looked at it. Now, this is complete speculation on my part. Don't say G. Bush told you this, that, and third. That's not what we're trying to get here today. I'm just letting you guys know from my perspective of having I would say I've had over 7 or 8 surgeries on my knee. Both ACLs, PCL was torn off the patellar tendon was torn off the bone. I've had multiple scopes, MCLs, and different things like that in meniscus and cleaning that up. So I do know what the symptoms are, and from what I'm seeing and from what I'm looking at, it looks like it might be one of those different situations. So what does that mean as we continue to move forward? What does that mean for your Cleveland Browns? I look at it like this, and this is why I've always told you, and I've stood where I've always stood on these different type of situations, is I get frustrated with fans when they start to tell you, G. Bush, we don't need so-and-so. G. Bush, we don't need that guy. We got so-and-so. We got young guys we want to play. And I understand that. I understand that you always want to give the availability of reps to some of the younger people. You want to make sure you develop those young guys because you want to see what you got in them. Here's your problem. Injuries are the biggest thing in the world in the NFL. So when people say, oh, well, we got to, on paper, if we can stay healthy, we have a chance. No one stays healthy. There is no such thing as health. There isn't. It's just a matter of time before you get hurt. It's not about whether you get hurt or not. It's when and at what position. And right now, when you look at the Cleveland Browns and you take a look at their defensive end position, as we throw up the depth chart here, you'll see exactly how this hurts a little bit. This hurts us a little bit right here. Take a look at this, right? Take a look at. Let me take this one off here. Y'all good? Let me make sure. Good now? Okay. There we go. So we ready to go. Audio's back up and ready to go. So let's take a look at that. So look at the defensive line. You got Obo Aranko, Tristan Hill's listed as number 2. Siaki Ika is listed as a 2. And Alex Wright was a guy who was in your number 2s and backing up Zadarius Smith. Now you look at it, right? He's a number 2. Look at what's up with Isaiah Thomas. Look, Isaiah Thomas is backing him up. So take a look at what everything is going on in the situation. Now you're down 2 of those guys with knee injuries, probably into the season. Now look at some of them, how you go from a position of, wow, these guys, we feel really good about our 4, 5, 6 defensive ends. Now those guys are going to have to, guys behind them are going to step up. And look at the number of, I don't even know these guys, and I cover them for a living. Come on now. I cover these guys for a living. And I have no clue who Jeremiah Martin is. Don't know. Michael Dwumfor. No. Sam Kamara. Is that Alvin Kamara's cousin? Lonnie Phelps. Who is that? Chuck Watt. Who are these people? I have no clue. Right now, if you look at it, they're going to probably move Isaiah McGuire into the backup position for Zadarius Smith. But this is tough. They cannot afford to sustain any more injuries to ends. They just can't. It's going to be a very difficult thing here. You take a look at that, and it's just, I look at it from a standpoint of defensive tackles. I'm not too worried about, because you do have some guys in there like Siaki Ika. I thought he played very well last game. I thought, you get an opportunity to see what Maurice Hurst and Tristan Hill can do. I like them at defensive end, but I'm going to tell you what. These ends, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the defensive ends are doing right now. I'm not sure if this is going to be something that we can sustain. And we're going to have to get on this. We're going to have to get on this. What's the name? I'm telling you that right now. As I play musical chairs, we're going to have to get on the waiver wire right now. And we're going to have to find some people. Because I tell you what, depth is a huge part of it. Depth is an extremely huge part of what they need to do to get to the playoffs this year. And when you lose 2 guys, and granted, when you lose a couple of guys, and we'll put up their stats here from last year. Let's see. Let's get this. And this is courtesy of PFF. When you look at them, Alex Wright did not perform that well last year. 38 overall, 37.2 run defense, and a 47.1 pass rush grade. He was a guy that didn't perform well last year, but I'm going to tell you why I'm optimistic about him coming up in a little bit, because I think there's a reason why he played this poorly last year. And I think everybody in general, given what I saw during the Hall of Fame game, these guys will be much more of a threat, specifically speaking about causing havoc with the new scheme that they're running. So you look at it, not too much, didn't have a sack last year. Let's take a look at Isaiah Thomas. Now, Isaiah Thomas performed much better. Even though Alex Wright is a 3rd-round pick, Isaiah Thomas was a 7th-round pick. Look what Isaiah Thomas was able to do last year. He did get a sack, 4 solo tackles, 3 assists. His grades are a lot better, 51% overall, 48.3 on the run defense, and a 59.8 in terms of his pass rush grade. So he performed better, 6'5", 266 out of Oklahoma. He performed better than Alex Wright did last year. However, I expect both of those guys to have a better year this year. And the reason you can see it, and the reason it's evident, is go ahead and watch the Cleveland Browns. Go watch the Cleveland Browns last week at the Hall of Fame game. Did you see the penetration? Did you see guys getting after it? Did you see guys able to, guys were able to get in the backfield. Guys were able to do their thing. Guys were able to continue to move upfield. And that's why the Cleveland Browns had a much better looking off defense. It's because now you have your ends wide and they're attacking. Everything is contained. You don't see the outside runs. You don't see the outside zones. You don't see the tosses and the stretches because your defensive ends got all that cleaned up. All of that's cleaned up in terms of that. So what you're looking at and which we have to look for now is if your defensive ends are going to be the focal point of your defense and they're going to get a lot of pressure, I think the Cleveland Browns, if they don't find somebody else to step up, I think they got to go out and make a move. I really do. I like the three ends, Obo, young OG. I love Zadarius Smith, and obviously we got Myles Garrett. But I'm going to tell you what, we haven't even got to the first preseason game, and we got guys dropping like this. I think the Browns, if they don't find a guy that's going to be able to collapse the pocket, to be able to be athletic out there and to fill those shoes, I think they got to go. I think they got to go get somebody, either somebody that gets cut from another team or somebody who you want to make sure that, hey, we got everything covered come game one. I've been talking a bunch here. We got opportunity to get to you guys right now. If you want to ask a question, I'll give you my thoughts on what's up with the defensive line, defense in general, and your concerns about the defense. Are you now concerned that you lose two defensive ends? And this is something that we're seeing already, and we haven't even got to the first game. I know a lot of people is probably chomping at the bit. Let's see. Man. Let's see. Let's get to our first one. Let's see. Make sure to take this off a little bit. Get to you guys. You know, the great thing about this is we can work some of these bugs out before the season gets here. So right now I'm trying some different things with some graphics, doing some stuff with two different camera angles. So I think that's the reason the audio is jumping around a little bit, but we do have some good announcements coming up for you guys. If you've been watching me do this and you've been watching me used to me being at the Browns tailgates, being at the Browns pregame show, I think I can announce this now. During the season, I'm going to be doing a Browns preview show, almost like a preview show, which will kind of serve. I don't know if I'm going to do it the day before the game or I'm going to do it on a Wednesday before the game to give you a couple of days to look at some of the information and give you a chance to watch the video. But I will be doing pregame myself on the Barbershop Network, so make sure you check that out. I will be doing each and every pregame for the Cleveland Browns, 17 weeks. I used to do it at 92.3 The Fan. I've decided to transition it over here to give people an opportunity to kind of opine and kind of build a pregame online presence. So I'm going to be doing that. So that's why I'm going live. I'll be going live a couple times a week to try to make sure I can get all the kinks out, make sure all the bugs are squared away. So by the time football season get ready to go, we ready to hit. We ready to go. Little Fred said, Cuddy Perry on Winfrey looks pretty dumb on our end right now, don't it? Well, not necessarily. Perry on Winfrey was not a defensive end. He was a defensive tackle. And I know Perry on Winfrey pretty much got baited, and he did get baited in terms of what he was doing and why he got in trouble with that young lady is very unfortunate. However, he was not a defensive end. He was a defensive tackle. And he had a slew of other stuff that he was just into. And I can understand from a Brown standpoint where you get in trouble and they keep giving you shots, they keep giving you opportunities, they keep giving you chances. And then this happens and it's just like they just had enough. They say, I don't care what you're doing, you got to go. So that's where they were at with Perry on Winfrey. Let's see else. What else we got here? Let's see. R1 says they weren't going to do anything anyway, replacement level players at best. Here's the thing. If you can find and develop somebody else, sure. But you got to think in terms of this. If they didn't go out and get anybody before them, that means they had some sort of faith that they liked what they saw. So obviously, if Alex Wright was going to be a third round pick, he was going to be dependent on to at least be a contributor. And that's the thing that we have to do with our Cleveland Browns. Notice this. Look how many third round picks that we've picked, that we've touched on, not just the defensive line, where it seems like those are whiffs, they're complete misses. We'll go through them really quickly. Anthony Schwartz is giving you nothing. After his Hall of Fame game performance, I don't even know if he has a realistic shot of even making his team. He's a third round pick. People swear up and down they love David Bell. Guess what? He hasn't shown me much. Marquise Goodwin is a guy who I really loved. I love the speed. And if you watch OTAs, he was able to be a guy that was able to get vertical, and Deshaun Watson found him. And guess what? He's out indefinitely with blood clots, and you support him and shout out to him and his family, because that's way more important to football. But unfortunately, that's another missed opportunity. Jordan Elliott has not lived up to it. He's a third round pick. Tommy Togiai is a third round pick. You got Phillips in the middle of the at linebacker. He hasn't shown you much. And as a matter of fact, the guy who looks to be the most consistent out of the late round picks is Taki. I mean, JOK has been a huge disappointment so far. So at some point in time, you can't go out and just buy free agents. Some of your guys are going to have to be able to step up and actually play meaningful snaps for you if you do want to get to the playoffs. Because I'm going to tell you what, somebody's going to get hurt. I said it before when they talked about the DeAndre Hopkins thing, and everybody was jumping on my timeline like, we got Donovan Peoples-Jones. We got Donovan Peoples-Jones. I know we got DPJ. I like DPJ. But at the end of the day, I'm always a person that's looking to add, because I know what it is when it comes to the game of footballs. Injury is going to happen. Let's keep it moving. Ultimate Cleveland sports fan, Mr. Bush, how's it going? I'm doing my thing. We seeing that. We seeing that. Fred says, let's go get a Ndamukong Suh for the dirt, what we are doing. I think, once again, Ndamukong Suh is a defensive tackle. Fame, I like this name, Fame Kresge. That's kind of dope. Our linebackers, he got the sleep emoji. I mean, sometimes, right now, they're not nothing to write home about. I'm interested in seeing what Jim Schwartz thinks. And I'm anxious to see what his assessment is going to be when the preseason games happen. Because one or two things are going to happen. We're going to see Alex Wright and Isaiah Thomas be injured, and then somebody else is going to step right up and they look just as good as them, and we just keep rolling out. Or I think you're going to have an opportunity to see, well, maybe we do need to go out and get some more guys and to plug and play. But the most encouraging thing would be is if the Browns didn't miss a step, because that would tell me that the scheme is something like a Mark D'Antonio, right? Everybody who plays for Mark D'Antonio, they played a really fast pace. Let's jack up a bunch of threes. Point guards who play for Mike D'Antonio, they're going to get 30 points and 10 assists tonight just because the possessions and the pace they play in the scheme. So some people are a product of the scheme. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes can make a bunch of people look good. Now, let's see if that's the same case with Jim Schwartz. Let's keep pushing it. A lot of comments in here, a lot of comments. Mel L says, the Kool-Aid. Who drinking the Kool-Aid this early? Who said who? Hey, I'm late. Who are we talking with? What up, Bo Bent? You late coming on in? As a matter of fact, 133 people in here. Hit the like button for me. Show me some love on that. Hit that like button for me. 133 people. Bo Bent, we talking about Alex Wright, Isaiah Thomas. Both of those guys are out. Those individuals will be out for an extended period of time, according to Coach Kevin Stefanski, leaving our depth kind of low. We haven't even played up our preseason game yet, and we still got our defensive ends looking crazy. He said, go get Clowney back. I'm straight. I'm cool. Hey, look. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's play a little game. Little Fred. Now, I'm going to ask the chat. Chat, let me know something. If you want Jadeveon Clowney back, put a 1. If you want no parts of Jadeveon Clowney, put a 2. Go ahead. So let me just repeat that. In the chat, I'm just letting Lil Fred know. If you want Jadeveon Clowney back, put a 1 in there. If you want no parts of Jadeveon Clowney, Mr. I'm only playing on third downs because you try to make Myles Garrett a Hall of Famer, put 2 in there. I'm interested to see how this is going to work. Cats is crazy. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. What are we doing? As those come in, DM says Perrion looked lost out there last season. He's a liability. Lamar Spencer says Justin signed with the Panthers. He signed with the Panthers. So, let's see. He signed with the Panthers. Yeah, I think one of these. All right. So we're gonna get back to it. There we go.
Okay.
Ready to go. All right, here we go. So my man Lamar Spencer says Houston signed with the Panthers. Let's see. L. Shore says, I'm concerned because we need all hands on deck with our defensive roster. I agree as well. Fame Gressy says our run defense is going to be trash. Karen Phil says, hi, G, there's some decent players we can sign that can replace them. I'm not a big fan of Jordan Elliott, go Browns. I'm not a big fan of them either. Let's see my man Fred. Like this. G. Bush, talk about how losing D-line affects the linebackers. Before we get to that poll, that unofficial poll we threw up for Lil Fred. One of the reasons this is a very important thing is the scheme in the wide nine, and please be looking out for this as well. Please be looking out for this in terms of a video that I got coming up. This video is going to really explain to you guys why the wide nine, why Jim Schwartz's, why his program works. And one of the reasons it works is because the defensive ends are so aggressive. It does not give the back time to find holes. He has to get the ball and hit it north and south right now. That's why there's no bouncing. There's none of that. But due to the wide splits, defensive linemen inside have to be very strong in two gap. You look at Siaki Ika, who made a 4th down play against the Jets. Very strong at the point of attack, locked out on the 3 technique, push them in the backfield. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure that you can penetrate, change the line of scrimmage, and get in that backfield. So many years the Cleveland Browns have been used to catching. They've been used to just kind of posting up, feeling where they can go, and trying to spill off late to make the ball or to tackle the football. When you're not getting penetration, that means the offensive lineman is getting penetration. That's why so many times you see when they're running the ball, the linebackers aren't even hitting those guys until 4 yards because you've given up 2 at the line of scrimmage because you're catching up front. Now they got momentum. Now that running back is running downhill at a linebacker who's getting people blown into his lap. And when you have undersized linebackers like we do, it makes it that worse. It makes it much worse. Because now, if JOK is getting, locked up with people, it's a problem. JOK is getting locked up with anybody, it's going to be a problem out there. So that's why it's very important for them to be attacking up front, for them to change the line of scrimmage, making sure backs don't get north and south. And that's why it's important to have those guys doing that. Now, on the other side of this flip, one of the things that you're so susceptible to is the inside zone. Inside zone is the most popular play in all of football. They're running up against you north and south. And one of the things you have to do is you got to stop the guard from comboing and hitting and moving to that next level to the linebacker. So it's a work in progress, but keep it locked. I got the video coming out. It'll be out within the next 2 days. And it's a complete guide of what you guys need to expect. And it's almost a study guide of what to expect from Jim Schwartz and the how, the why, when he's going to blitz, why he doesn't blitz, who has contained. All of those things are very, very important in terms of that. Check that out. Let's see. All right. Let's get to a couple of these. Let's get to a couple of these really quick. So, who wants Jadeveon Clowney? Alec McCauley says, I do. Put your hands up. Christopher Gillespie, no Clowney. Thaddeus Lunders, nah, I'm going to take the 2. Oh, we see a whole lot of 2s in here. Hey, Monty Berry, he'll take him back 1. So right now, the 2s look like they have it. Little Fred, the 2s look like they overwhelming. Justin Levy is with you. He with you. But the 2s is dominating at this point. 2s is dominating at this point. Oh, man. All right, so guys, 150 people in here. Hit the like button, guys. We're gonna end this thing a little quick. I'm having a little camera issues. I'm testing out a new camera, so it looks like it's overheating. But you get the gist of the situation. We'll touch back in with you. Look for that blog out about Jim Schwartz, and as always, thank you supporting the barbershop. We'll see you the same place, same time next week.
Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports, and it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.